Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a newly buffed Pokemon in the Season 15 balance update, and that is going to be Mud Bomb TOXICROAK. Mud Bomb did get a buff in Season 15, so it now does extra damage. So today, I'm going to be taking my perfect IV level 40 TOXICROAK into the Ultra League and see how it performs. The team I'm using was originally created by a fellow content creator, Inadequence, so I will have a link to his channel in the description. So without further ado, let's open the matches and check out newly buffed Mud Bomb TOXICROAK in action in the Open Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a terrible lead, Umbreon into Como-O. I will immediately save switch into Nidoqueen, and my opponent responds with Jellicent. This team does function as a pretty standard ABB style team, where the goal being with the Nidoqueen save switch to bait out the opponent's best response to TOXICROAK, in this case the Jellicent, and then hopefully with Jellicent out of the way, TOXICROAK can sweep in the endgame. I am running slightly different movesets to what Inadequence did run. He typically ends up going for Dark Pulse on Umbreon since it does hit slightly harder. I've only ever used Foul Play, so I decided to stick with Foul Play, and my Umbreon has Psychic. So unfortunately, my Umbreon is a lot worse into opposing Dark types, but with Psychic, I can hit Fighters and Poisons for super effective. My opponent firing off Surf after Surf here. Honestly, this damage doesn't really matter. My goal is I want to try and leave with 100 energy. So I'm going to go for the Foul Play, undercharge it a lot, and I'm going to go for the aggressive Snarl farm down because I want to leave with 100 energy so I can threaten the Como-O with super effective Psychics. Surf is going to connect. Umbreon gets the Snarl down, leaving with 100 energy. In comes Como-O. I'm going for Psychic number 1. That deals some solid damage onto Como-O, and I'm going for Psychic number 2. This will almost KO here. Psychic connects. In the back, they have Registeel. In comes TOXICROAK, and the opponent concedes the match. Picking up a terrible lead again in the next match, Umbreon into Skuntank. I do have two better responses in the back, but I decided to play this out by staying in to start. Umbreon is very tanky, and I know my energy isn't useful here, so my plan is to bank a ton of energy, tank the Flamethrower, and now I can safely send in the Nidoqueen. Opponent responds with a Tapu Fini, which by no means is a good counter to a Nidoqueen save switch, as Nidoqueen, even though Poison Fang now takes 12 turns to get to instead of 10, Nidoqueen can still very comfortably beat Tapu Fini here, as long as it has a shield. So I will shield up the Surf, Nidoqueen will get the full farm down and leave with a ton of energy. Back in comes the Skuntank, I overfarm, go for the Earth Power, unfortunately I do not win that CMP tie. Crunch will get the Nidoqueen low. They do lower my defense, but the nice thing is, due to the typing, their poison jabs already do basically nothing. I'm able to grab a shield with the Earth Power, opponent looking for the farm down, and I'm able to make it to Earth Power number 2. If they double shield, then I should be in a really good spot, and they do, because they double shielded, looking to protect the Skuntank, and now Skuntank has to deal with TOXICROAK. I tank the Flamethrower here, opponent actually baits with a Crunch, and thankfully they do not get the debuff. I'm looking for the farm down here. I'm hoping that TOXICROAK will be good versus whatever they have in back. Crunch gets shielded. TOXICROAK looking for the farm down. And again, the opponent concedes the match. Picking up a fairly neutral lead in the next match, Umbreon into Shadow Dragonite. Dragonite, of course, can hit for massive super effective damage with superpower, but the good news for me is that it's very frail. So Foul Play will hit for a ton of damage, and now I can send in Nidoqueen. They will be able to make it to 2 Dragon Claws, and I don't really want to go for a CMP tie, so I'm just going to go for the extra here with Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen would easily lose CMP to Dragonite, so instead of going for the CMP, I'm just going to look for the farm down. Opponent now going to send in Drapion. They're saving that Dragonite for later in the game. I full send the Earth Power, opponent commits the shield, continuing to farm with the Nidoqueen. At this point, Nidoqueen has done its job. So I'm just going to let the Nidoqueen go. Crunch gets me low, but I'm able to hang on and make the Earth Power. Nidoqueen, Earth Power, gets the shield. Aggressive switch into the TOXICROAK. TOXICROAK looking to get a bunch of energy here. They're firing off the Crunch into the TOXICROAK. They do see the defense drop. I'm going to farm up and fire off the Mud Bomb on the CMP tie here. Mud Bomb is going to be getting rid of the Drapion. We'll have to see what do they have in the back. And for the third time in 3 games, opponent concedes the match. Picking up a neutral lead in the next match, Umbreon into Galarian Stunfisk. Considering I do have Nidoqueen in the back, I definitely don't mind seeing the Stunfisk on the lead here. Umbreon, this is a battle of neutral tanks, as Foul Play not going to do a lot of damage, and even an Earthquake from the Stunfisk is not going to hit the Umbreon very hard. Umbreon able to tank that quite nicely, farm up, and go for foul play number 2. This is going to be getting that Stunfisk very close to the half health mark, as now they are finally in the yellow. Stunfisk continuing to farm. Again, I don't really want to commit shields to Umbreon in this matchup. I'm going to farm up, go for the foul play here. Foul play, not going to be enough to be lethal, but it will get them low. Foul play connects, continuing to farm up with the Umbreon. Opponent has to be at an Earthquake here. A Rock Slide will not KO. They go for the Rock Slide. Umbreon hangs on. I'm very low, so I'm just going for the foul play as soon as I get it. Foul play gets them low. I send in the Toxicroak, and I snipe with the counter. Opponent now sends in Trevenant. Maybe giving up switch advantage wasn't the greatest idea ever. I'm full sending the Sludge Bomb here. Sludge Bomb will be shielded by the Trevenant. I continue to farm up. My plan is to shield the Shadow Ball, and then I should be able to make it to the Sludge Bomb, but my opponent baits with a Seed Bomb. That is terrible, as now they outpace me. I do want to save the final shield for Nidoqueen, so I'm just going to let Toxicroak go. In comes the Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen looking to farm up a ton of energy here. Trev is at the Shadow Ball, so I will give up my final shield. Shadow Ball will be shielded, continuing to farm with the Nidoqueen in the back. Opponent has Virizion. Wait, this might actually be doable. I'm firing off the Poison Fang. That's going to connect. Going for Poison Fang number 2. This will not KO, but it will get the Virizion very low. Virizion able to hang on. This is only a Sacred Sword or a Leaf Blade. It is going to be the Leaf Blade from the Virizion. Nidoqueen gets the farm down. Now I have to go for the catch. I go for the catch, but great patience by my opponent. They paused the turn, saw the catch, held on to their energy, and that's game over. Hopping into the next match, going up against fellow content creator Caleb Peng, leading Umbreon into Shadow Nidoqueen. This is a matchup where having Psychic can be nice. Opponent save switches into Cobalion, and we have Toxicroak. Toxicroak absolutely shuts down both Swords of Justice. They are firing off the Sacred Sword. That is not going to be doing a lot of damage. Everything they throw is going to be resisted. They are 2 double kicks off of their 3rd Sacred Sword, so I'm going to throw 3 counters and win CMP with the Mud Bomb, and this will be lethal. My goal is to leave with a lot of loaded energy, so that way I can threaten the Shadow Nidoqueen if my opponent sends it back in. Opponent is going to send in the Shadow Nidoqueen. I'm farming up till just shy of the back-to-back Mud Bombs. Going for Mud Bomb number 1. That's going to connect. Opponent forced to throw energy, and honestly, that works for me. I can send in the Umbreon to tank whatever energy they have. In comes the Umbreon. In the back, they have Obstagoon. In comes Nidoqueen, and the opponent concedes the match. Picking up a positive lead in the next match, Umbreon into Defense Deoxys. Umbreon does quite well versus Deoxys. I'm farming up, going for the foul play. My opponent makes a very nice catch, catching the foul play onto Walrein. That is a bit unfortunate for me. I am going to respond with the Toxicroak. Toxicroak does do quite well here, but I definitely wish that I had that foul play stored for later. I fire off the Sludge Bomb on the CMP tie. Opponent is going to shield here. I am going to shield back because I really don't want to get hit with an Earthquake. They bait with the Icicle Spear. Opponent does not get to the Earthquake. They are 1 short, so I can very comfortably no-shield this. Icicle Spear will get the Toxicroak low, but this way I leave with energy, so I can threaten the Deoxys. Opponent is now going to send in a Swampert, so they do not send in the Deoxys. I'm firing off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, as I mentioned, does have some increased damage. Unfortunately, I cannot make a second one, and with Swampert on the field, I cannot afford to bring in Nidoqueen, so I have to send in Umbreon. Opponent is going to go for the Hydro Cannon. I'm firing off the foul play. I just need to get rid of this Swampert, but Shadow Swampert up energy is incredibly scary. They commit the shield, and now there's nothing stopping them from making it to the Earthquake, and things are honestly looking quite dire here. Earthquake is going to connect. I go for the foul play, and again, my opponent makes a terrific catch, catching the foul play onto Deoxys. I'm farming up with the Umbreon. This forces them to throw their energy, and they're going to be going for the Thunderbolts. They do not want to debuff themselves. Now I'm going to send in the Nidoqueen. I believe my win con is going to be going for a Poison Fang, trying to farm down and leave with energy to outpace the Swampert. Psycho Boost is going to connect, and I'm firing off the Poison Fang. Poison Fang is going to deal some solid damage onto the Deoxys, and now I just have to try and commit to the farm down. If they have the back-to-back here, unfortunately, I lose because this Poison Jab did not KO, and they have the back-to-back. Deoxys with a sliver of HP takes out the Nidoqueen, and we lose a heartbreaking game. Picking up a neutral lead in the next match, Umbreon into Shadow Wall Rain. Now, typically for neutral leads, it would be nice to save switch and check and see if there's a counter to poison types in the back, but unfortunately, Nidoqueen does not appreciate Wall Rain, so I can't really save switch out of here. So I'm just going to stay in here and go for the Foul Play. Foul Play will get some okay chip damage onto the Wall Rain, and I'm going for Foul Play number 2. This will be getting the Wall Rain below half HP. Umbreon continuing to farm. Wall Rain throwing on perfect timing right before Umbreon is able to make the next charge move. Icicle Spear is going to connect. Umbreon goes for the Foul Play, but a very nice catch by my opponent, catching the Foul Play onto Drapion. Bad news for the Drapion, however, as it's going to have a terrible day going up against Toxicroak. Toxicroak just absolutely feasts on the Dark Poisons. They go for the Aqua Tail, so I'm going to fire off the Mud Bomb on the CMP tie. This will be lethal. Opponent is going to let that through. In the back, they have Shadow Charizard, and Shadow Charizard up energy is extremely difficult to deal with. I fire off the Sludge Bomb. Opponent will commit the shield. They get the full wing attack farm down. In comes Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen farming up energy here, but the Charizard is so far ahead. They go for the Blast Burn. Nidoqueen farming up, and Charizard is firing off Blast Burn number 2. I commit the final shield. I'm still very healthy here. I go for the Poison Fang, but it's caught onto the Wall Rain. That is unfortunate. Poison Fang will be shielded. I'm going to return the favor, make it a catch onto the Umbreon. Opponent undercharges the Icicle Spear, but that will allow Umbreon to make a move. They have to throw again, and now I believe I should just win this game. Opponent probably had to try and commit to the farm down, because now Nidoqueen gets the full farm down and leaves with the Poison Fang loaded. Shadow Charizard is deadly, but without shields and with no energy, it gets KO'd. And that's game over. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Umbreon into Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Opponent save switches into a Swampert, and Swampert is a problem for my backline. So I actually need to stay in here with the Umbreon and hopefully win switch, so that way I can put the Sandslash onto the Toxicroak. My opponent is going to fire off a charge move with the Swampert, Hydro Cannon connects, and that will hit for quite a lot of damage. I continue to farm up with the Umbreon here. Umbreon just shy of the back-to-back foul plays. Opponent goes for the Hydro. I let that through, and now I'm at the back-to-back foul plays here. What I should do right here is throw them back-to-back, but I throw one more, and that gives my opponent the energy they need to make the Earthquake. They full send the Earthquake, and losing switch is awful here. And to add insult to injury, the Swampert makes it to a last-second Hydro. So what started out really good, suddenly everything's going wrong. In comes Tapu Fini, I bank a move for later, send in the Nidoqueen, and back in comes the Shadow A-Slash. And at this point, unfortunately, I think this is basically just a loss. I have misplayed this quite severely. I'm still going to try and play my way out of it, though. I'm going to shield everything, double bait, and hopefully I can stall my switch clock long enough so that I can snipe with the loaded move on the Toxicroak. That's about the only win con that I see here. Opponent fires off the Drill Run there. I'm now firing off the Poison Fang. Poison Fang is going to be shielded. My switch clock not yet up. I'm going to throw the Poison Fang just to burn the switch clock, but it's a CMP tie. And that's going to be game over, as unfortunately I will be KO'd by either an Ice Punch or a Drill Run here. It's the Ice Punch, and Toxicroak, I have the Sludge Bomb loaded, but this is not enough damage to KO the Fini. It gets the Fini low, but Fini, as you can see, makes the Surf. That's going to be getting rid of the Toxicroak, and unfortunately, that's game over. Hopping into the final match, picking up a pretty nice lead, Umbreon into Venusaur. I'm going to stay in this matchup to start, tank a Frenzy Plant, fire off a Psychic, and then I'm going into the save switch of Nidoqueen. Again, I do need to check and see if they have a counter to poison types in the back. Frenzy Plant connects, I'm now going for the super effective Psychic, and this is going to hurt. This isn't a Shadow Venusaur, but the Psychic still does a lot of damage. In comes the Nidoqueen. Frenzy Plant, I can tank pretty comfortably. Neither one of us are Shadow here, so Frenzy Plant is going to be able to be survived. Opponent now sends in Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is going to be hit with the Poison Fang. Poison Fang is definitely going to leave a mark. Nidoqueen not going to make it to the Poison Fang. Tapu is going to fire off a charge move here. Surf is going to KO. I'm going to send in Toxicroak, and I'm just going to go for the one shield farm down here. Unfortunately, my opponent lags a little bit, and they do not make the charge move. So you know what? For the rest of this game, I'm just going to play as if I only have one shield to try and make it fair. I'm firing off the Mud Bomb. They're shielding, so they are clearly incredibly weak to Toxicroak. And I win the CMP tie with the Mud Bomb. Toxicroak's energy just too valuable in this endgame, and it looks like the opponent is very weak to Toxicroak. Toxicroak should be able to get the farm down, and the opponent concedes the match. All in all, I do feel like Toxicroak, especially now with the increased damage with Mud Bomb, has the potential to be a really cool core breaker in the Open Ultra League meta. This team that was created by Inadequins feels like a really well-balanced line. Umbreon is extremely bulky, and Nidoqueen, as the safe switch, does a very good job of baiting out Pokemon that Toxicroak doesn't want to see. And as we saw, there were so many times where opponents ended up top-lefting before showing the third after seeing the Toxicroak. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.